Hey Pisces, this is your monthly reading for tarot. So this is for the month of October 2023. And we are looking at the overall month for Pisces, sun or rising signs. So we are back to our regularly scheduled videos and I'm super stoked to be back on track. Thanks for understanding about last month with all the family stuff I had going on. I appreciate any kind of patience that you guys gave me with that. So let's take a look. These are of the readings that I put out monthly. These are the longer ones. So we're going to be taking a look at the beginning, middle, and end of the month. Any particular challenge that is coming up that feels more prominent. I'm feeling that one. So, and then also any kind of advice that comes along with that. These videos are typically around, on average, like 14 minutes, I would say. So, so just like if you want shorter readings, then you can check out the bi-weekly readings that go from new to full moon and full to new moon. So the last one that I put out was on September 29th. Yeah. And that goes till October 14th. So, all right, which is when we're going to be looking at the first eclipse of eclipse season is in that middle month mark. So those videos are typically about, I would say, 5 minutes on average. So if you want shorter readings, you can check those out. So with these readings, they are collective. So please remember that. If this doesn't feel resonant with you, it's just not your message this month. I would say go check out if this is your sun sign, go check out your rising sign, see if that resonates more. I also watch collective readings from time to time from certain readers, and I just know if it's not my reading that month, it's not my reading that month. So, just keep that in mind. If you want something specific to you, really the best way to understand what's happening in a specific situation or for you is to get a one-to-one reading. So if you're interested in that, the information for that is down below in the description box. So how are we going to focus this entire reading? Through what lens? And so we look to the astrological houses. We look to what area of life this is being pointed out for you. So yes, we're looking at communication, not just what you say, what you speak into the world, but also your written communication as well. And then we are also looking at your siblings, sibling-like people in your life, like a sibling-like friend, sometimes extended family, and also your community, right? Like your local area. I mean, very local. I mean, like this is where you go to the farmer's market. This is where you go to, I don't know, get your gas filled. This is your neighborhood, right? So that's kind of the area that we're looking at. So see how that applies to you. We're starting off the beginning of the month with the King of Pentacles, moving into the Seven of Swords, and then also going into the Death card. The challenge being the King of Cups and the Queen of Swords as your advice. So very interesting reading, you guys. Very interesting reading. So let's start out with the beginning of the month. We're looking at the King of Pentacles. This is definitely about more of that type of grounding energy, very established, very grounded type of energy. Now, this could have to do with your finances. This could have to do with just like your tangible world and how you create a sense of like stability and safety in the world for yourself. So it could be either of those. Definitely remember that with any of the kings, we're looking at being in a place of like stepping into a role of leadership and responsibility. So it just feels like there's a lot of responsibility that you're starting out with regard to like the earth element, right? Like I said, it could be finances, it could be your physical possessions, physical world, that type of thing, right? So in the beginning of the month, it feels, a lot like that. And which that could be really great. For some of you, you might be like, yeah, I've got my coins together. I've got my stuff together. I really feel stabilized. And for others of you, that could mean, again, because it's a collective reading, I like to say more than one thing. This could be also coming into the month and feeling just kind of like, wow, this is a lot of responsibility. This feels like a lot to consider or to hold. And come into the middle of the month and we're looking at the Seven of Swords. It's definitely not people's favorite card. And I think too quickly people jump to like, oh my God, that means that there's a liar in your midst. Yeah, that could be. It could be. It is a card that has to deal with, thievery and secrets and lies and manipulations and that type of thing. Kind of like con man energy, like that. So could it have to do with that? I mean, yeah, it could be connected to that. So I like to mention, though, that besides that kind of what people jump to, there is also the consideration of, am I lying to myself? Am I deceiving myself? Am I not looking at the truth of the matter? And the thing about when we start to move towards that eclipse, right? Any eclipse season, and again, I'm not going to go over the astrology in here really much, but I just want to mention this because we're looking at that portion of the month, right? And like it can really bring in, like, usher in a lot of newness and also usher things out. It can be the time of great beginnings and great endings. And so perhaps there are things that you discover either about yourself or about some of the company that you're keeping that is not in alignment with you, that you realize it's like, man, I'm hanging out with a couple or maybe one shady person, or like I am dealing with a lie that was told or something that was hidden from me or something that comes up in that world that feels, yeah, it just doesn't feel, it feels like the ick. It doesn't really feel good. And you've got to make some decisions and feel into what you want to do with that information, you know? And so for some of you, I think it could be an actual person or persons, you know, people. And on the other hand, I think that this could be also recognizing, like, maybe you need to look at the truth of the matter and the truth in your life and recognize, like, where it is that you are kind of sugarcoating and hiding things from yourself, not wanting to see things completely as they are, because it just feels like it would be overwhelming, right? So I want to mention both of those because I think it's important to say that. It's interesting because the end of the month, the end third of the month, shows that there are things, perhaps people, but there are things, perhaps people that need to be let go of, need to be put to rest, need to be relinquished. Now that could be putting beef to rest that you have with other people, like you've got beef with other people and you need to like put that to rest and stop holding on to grudges and let that go. Like you maybe found something out and then you had to have some communication and resolve things, or at least have a conversation around something that felt confronting, and that perhaps in that process you were able to resolve it and now you need to let that go. Or you weren't able to resolve it and maybe you have to let a certain kind of connection go, or a certain way that you thought things were going to go with a person, you need to let that go. So really the Death card is about bringing in more life through making space and letting go of that which is tying you down, holding you down, and letting that go. In every Death card, that is a traditional Death card, like the imagery, what we normally see, and we kind of see that it's like showing it here, kinda, but normally we see the dawning of a new day after a really dark night. And so it's like the promise of new energy and something being ushered in that comes with this, which makes me think that, yeah, this could be very much connected to the energy of the eclipse season. You know, with the King of Cups, I think being in a challenge position, I think that there are things emotionally that you're not wanting to take responsibility for, or that you're just not wanting to hold, like lead the way or hold the responsibility for you and another people, or you and other people in some way, like with regards to like the communication, the emotions that it brings up. You know, this is maybe not handling your emotions so well, feeling like instead of you being in a place where you can hold all of the emotions that you're experiencing and still be able to run your kingdom, for instance, and function and make decisions that are informed by your emotions, it's more like the King of Cups in a challenge position is more like not being able to handle the waves of emotions that are coming through, not being able to let them inform you, but more having them take over you and them ruling you versus you working with them. So that is a concern. And I think that it's interesting that we end out the month with or not the end of the month, but we end out your reading with the Queen of Swords, which is all about communication. Coming back to this card, right? So it's all about communication and it's about saying what needs to be fucking said, right? Like this is your, advice card, and the advice that you're getting for the month overall and for the challenges is like things just sometimes need to be talked about, things need to be said, things and to be said in a way that is clear, concise, direct, right? Not like not having two bones about things, but also not doing it in a way that is overly sharp, destructive, You know, it's kind of like she wields her words with precision and in being true to herself, right? Like that's the thing about the Queen of Swords, is like she's been through enough. She's been through a lot of stuff, right? And she, through all of that, has learned enough and seen enough in life and felt enough in life to be able to know for herself what is true for her and what needs to be communicated and what doesn't. And so she doesn't have any bones about it. She's going to tell you what needs to be said, and she's going to have the communications that need to be had. And it's when we want to watch out is like not just being sharp just because we have a bunch of feelings about it. We don't want to be messy with our communication. We want to be really clean with it. So yeah, the Queen of Swords kind of earns the reputation of being queen bitch because she'll just like say what needs to be said. However, there is a power and a strength that comes from when we understand that we need to communicate. You can't just sit back in a nebulous ocean of emotion and world to where you just kind of want to like push it off and like not really have these conversations. It's obviously not doing you really like a lot of justice. You're struggling with it on an emotional level. And the Death card says like, hey, certain things need to be let go. Communication is up on deck. So even if it's not with a sibling-like person or a sibling or, you know, whatever, or somebody in your immediate community, this could be just communication overall, like somebody that you need to be communicating with. And clearly communication is coming up again. So feels like this is an important kind of underscore, you know, highlight underscore to your reading. I would check out the astrological highlights video so that you have a better understanding of like how to put this part of this reading into context. The first half of October should be out at the same time as these are, and so you get a sense of like how the frequency of the month is going and how you can put this into context in that realm. So if this was helpful, if you had any insights from this, please consider giving the video a like. It really does help so that I can be seen and recognized by the algorithm gods and like shared with more people as I'm building this channel. And why not subscribe and hit the notification bell while you're at it so you don't miss any of these videos on the horizon. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.